diamonds, yeah, they bluey. Put them around your neck, you look chewy. Blow 10 grand, please excuse me. Bless me real good, I need a hero cookie. I'm a tipper, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, yeah, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, yeah, I'm a big tipper. Put up, or shut up. Put up, or shut up. I'm a tipper, yeah, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, I'm a big tipper.
They say the rap game dead, I object, that's a low blow. Taking copycatting off each other, that's a no-no. Keep this original, or just not even no show. I'm a big tipper, when I spend it, I'ma flip ya. So girl, drop it really low, show them how we floor the flow. Candy, yam, and stick and ball, feed me and give me more. Haters gon' hate when they see us running state to state. The way that we be tipping, man, I'm dude on some other shit. Down on this dude, what you mean, that's another chick. Coming in, going out on some other shit. Try to rip us off, best believe it, that's a no-go. Never trust nobody, even family, that's a no-no.
I'm a tipper, I'm a big tipper. I'm a tipper, yeah, I'm a big tipper.
Okay. Hey everybody, it's Annamarie. The Power of Voices. This is Comedy Hour Live. I've got my first shot at Skyping. I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm watching it kind of on my live feed. And I have on. Oh, there I am. Clayton Thomas of Team Clayton Thomas. While he sets up his rig.
It's Annamarie.
POLCARO. At that's all. Yeah, it's on the powervoices.com. They just listen live and you're there.
Nice. What's up, everybody? Thank y'all for coming in. I'm going to be getting asked amazing questions by this amazing.
I am. I'm so psyched to get you in a chair. As you know, we could do comedy stretches, crazy lady, finding comedians going, come on my show. Right?
It's been asking for a while. It's not worked out.
Yeah, that's right.
From Boston.
I am. So we won't talk about game because I know how he doesn't care about sports.
Back in the
car, whatever. And we also do the idea of doing was it we put ours along like sofa? Idea. Yeah, we don't say idea. We say have an idea. People like, hell, you got a what?
The question, let me get these comments. Thank y'all watching.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Everybody out there.
Yeah, because I want to get down to the inner guts. What makes Clayton. First of all, you married.
Yeah.
And we were talking about an incident where somebody was like doing something, and the person, because it wasn't his wife or his girlfriend, she was directing because, I just want to ask an opinion because someone goes, you can't say all women do, but there's a lot of women that feel the need to take instruction and tutor you on whatever it is that you're doing, be it you're driving, why you parking here, why you behind this guy, what the speed limit is, all of those things that we do, we don't know why. But it's like a DNA, like maybe we are like programmed like that from some universe, control freaks are us.
So what are you asking me?
I'm asking you, like, is there ever a time where you're doing something that with your wife that you think in your head, this is a great sketch?
A lot of stuff, actually. As a matter of fact, we've shot so many sketches where she'll say something that has annoyed me, or I'll do something that's annoyed her, or something that we'll be like, now this can be exaggerated and shot, and then we'll shoot it. She's great for that kind of stuff. It's like all the stuff.
She's like, go with it.
Yeah.
That's awesome, because that's what makes comedy. You started in stand up, correct?
Yeah.
And that's your love, right?
Yeah. Started stand up at 18 years old. I was a senior in high school. I'm 32 now, so I've been doing it a long time.
Wow. Oh, and I'd say, how do you do it, man? It's so much. Yeah. You have to be passionate about it.
Stand-up is one of those things where it changes in different stages of your life. Like I remember when I first started doing stand-up, I'm only in a comedy club. If I'm not doing anything else. I'm not doing anything else for fun. I'm not going out to a club. I'm not going out
Which there's a lot.
I was just going to the comedy club because that's all I knew, and that's all that I knew that would help me become better. Then in my mid-20s, Tangent and I started dating. She's like, yo, you got to do other stuff. You got to experience the world. And I'm like, no, I get to that when I get to it. And she was like, the world isn't promised to you. You need to do it now. Wow. You can have more to talk about. And I'm like, yeah. And then I just start slowly taking vacations or going out to different things that I would never go to before. And it made me realize that I was living in a bubble and that I had to get out of my comfort zone and do everything that made me uncomfortable to, in fact, make me comfortable again, if that makes sense.
Now, yeah, because it's really funny that you're talking about that, because I was discussing what people think getting out of your comfort zone means, because it's one of those generalized sayings that people will say, you gotta get out of your comfort zone, but you don't really grasp what it means. All people hear is comfort, I'll be uncomfortable, and they stop it right there. But it means like there's certain habits that we have that really don't serve us, and that if you get out of like a bad habit, which is a comfort zone, that's why I tell people like, it's doing the same old, responding the same old way, but it's not getting you anywhere. Yeah. So that means now you got to change what you're doing, your perception, the way you react to it.
Absolutely.
And a lot of that comes with lessons if you're paying attention and go, oh, why do I keep doing this? What am I supposed to learn?
For me, it required a lot of different things. Like I say, my only comfort was being in a comedy club every night. As a matter of fact, when I saw other comedians come in, they'd be like, oh, I'm just here for a second, then I'm hitting the club. And I'll be like, that's why you're not fucking funny, because you always going to the club and not staying in the comedy club. Even if you're not performing, you need to stay in there and watch what you can be doing and can't be doing. Like you learn how to deliver a joke. You learn how to control a crowd, like all of these different things. And then outside of the comfort zone is, hey, you're 23 years old. Maybe you should actually enjoy your 20s. But the part of the reason for me not going out and doing anything else is because I didn't have the money. Because I'm like,
it's a lot of money.
Yeah, comedy clubs, if you're a comedian, it's free to get in. You can sit there, nobody bothers you. And if you leave the comedy club, now you got to pay for everything. And it was like, So slowly but surely, doing things that I wasn't used to made me more comfortable within who I was and helped me discover a different level of who I am.
Well, I would say that you are, usually when I meet somebody around that age where the perspective is like, if I could talk to my earlier self, it's like, okay, believe it or not, because I really truly mean that, yes, there's no guarantees, but you have the strength, energy, the stamina, and you also have the ability to deal with and adapt to a lot easier than you do as you get older, because certain habits really do settle in.
Oh, yeah.
And the flexibility of dealing with people, as you see, I'm so comfortable. It's a beautiful thing, because no matter where I go, I'd have no problem meeting anyone. Yeah. And I would imagine, although, are you an introvert or an extrovert? Because a lot of people are surprised about this, about comedians.
You know what? As weird as it may seem, when it comes to me, I am a huge introvert. The character of Clayton Thomas is very outgoing. You'll see the sketches. You'll see me playing a character on TV or doing my radio show. Like, I enjoy having conversations, but I'm very shy of a person around people that I don't know. So it's weird whenever I get a chance to meet people who are fans of mine. I love it because it's like I feel familiar. They're like, hey, I watch you. I'm like, okay, great. You get me. Let's talk. But if it's somebody that if you invite me to a family barbecue, I'm awkward as fuck. Like, they're like, ain't you a comedian? I'm like, yeah. Oh, you so quiet for me.
I can't help but, I laugh at this because this was one of the things when I first started my show, and like as these things were revealed, it was like, what? Really? And you realize how many people almost do like, I'm going to stick a coin in this boy's ear, and he's just going to pop out with all these jokes because he's a funny man. Come on, funny man. And like, it's something I've asked comedians, when you were younger, did you have family that were like, this is my boy Clayton, he's funny. Go ahead, Clayton, to show them what you do.
With my friends, yes. In my family, I'm probably the unfunniest person ever because they don't know that I'm funny. It's like, everybody in my family I call the barbershop comedian. They can go, and other comedians are like that too. Like they can go to a barbershop and make people laugh. I'm not somebody who go in a barbershop and make people laugh. They might be fans of mine already, but if I have to make them laugh right there, it's like it's not really funny. I'm more of a on stage, on TV kind of funny. I'm not like if we're around a group of comedians, I'm gonna sit back and be entertained like everybody else. I don't have to be the biggest personality in the room.
So people that see where you are now, it's the most natural. No one goes, oh my God, I can't believe his success. And yet, like what people don't understand about out here in this industry, it never ends.
No, it never ends.
You are so good about touching base with your fans. All you fans out there, this guy, it's not a commonality because, I've seen I want to say to some comedians, okay, let me enlighten you. That never gets old for people. And that's what made, in the restaurant business, my mother knew people's names. She knew their family. When you connect, and in sales, commonality, common ground, and you have this relationship, people are loyal as fuck.
Here's how I look at it. I look at it like, for me, it started before I was even making any type of video or any type of success online. I would go to my fellow friends' pages, and I'll be like, oh, that's crazy. Right. And they wouldn't respond to me, but they would respond to somebody under me. Like women are big for this as well. A lot of women, not all. Hey, girl, you look good. They don't say anything. And then another girl says, oh, bitch, them boots, bitch. Right. And then they're like, oh, thank you, girl. And I'm like, what about the rest of us that said something to you? So I wanted to make sure that when I connected with my fans, that I wanted them to be able to talk to me and I talk back. Because there's nothing more annoying than saying something to somebody and not getting a response. And
you are incredible. One other thing is, too, it's like there's things that that karma that you give off and you get back. Like, I know the first time I met you, in fact, this was what was funny. I didn't know that I met you at Cleo King used to shout out Cleo.
Oh, wow. How about that?
And I sent a picture because we're on stage.
Yep.
Your wife, you have on, and I have on a black suit. You have on this black and yellow, and we look like we was out there breakdancing, doing something, jamming up on stage. And that was the first time that I met you. Now, obviously, I know who I just got here, so I didn't know anybody. So I didn't know the caliber of comedians that came through.
Yeah.
And I was singing. I was pouring my heart out. Typical female. And I can sing, so I had this great availability to pour my emotions into music. And then I started doing these, because I've always been told I was funny, and doing skits. And they were just sheer adrenaline energy. I couldn't believe how much energy and how to contain it. I don't know. Did you have that at first, where you felt like you were almost like a loose wire on stage, where you had to bring it in a little bit if you reacted to the energy? Or
in the very beginning, and I'm talking about 18, 19, I had no idea what I was doing. So it was more... not so much that kind of energy. I've always been the same kind of demeanor, but I didn't know how to give them me. Now when I get on stage, it's more so a controlled frenzy because I know how to hit them. But at that time, I had all of the bravado, but I had none of the material. So it's like I might be excited for them to see me, but this is a perfect example. There's a comedian, rest in peace, Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid is the guy that you might see Lil Duval talking a lot about. He's from Detroit. He's one of my comedy mentors that got me started in comedy. And he was one of the funniest people I've ever seen in my life. And what I mean by that is when I would go on stage before him, he would be hosting, I go on stage and I do some jokes and people are like, ha, 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 ha. Like, ha, 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 right? He goes on stage and people will be like, oh, they will be holding their stomachs. And I'm like, man, I want that. How do I do that?
Right.
And he's like, yo, man, just keep living. Because what you're talking about now is stuff that a comedian talks about before they went through anything. He's like, what he's been through, his life experiences are what people are connecting to. And that's the only thing that makes you funny as a comedian, is when you have material that is relatable to people to where they can then connect with it. At the time, I'm talking about, yeah, man, I like dating this kind of woman. It's like, man, shut your young ass up. What the fuck you talking about? But, now I've been through so much, and no matter what age range is in my audience, I know they've been through at least something that I'm going to speak about. So now it's more of connection, still get the super big energy, but just directed differently, as opposed to the guy that had nothing to talk about but all the great intent in the world.
Well, you know, that has, and it's so funny because I'm trying so hard to get this Skypey thing. I know I'm on yours. But what's really kind of funny is, well, comedy, but it's when you one of the things to get up on stage, they were like, all right, if you're going to do this, what is the traumas, the person, and I'm like, traumas? How's that? Oh, you'd be surprised. And then I started listening to the comedians when I'd ask them how they grew up, and certain stories they would have, like you know, I call it slap the shit out of you Sundays. I don't know about you, but in our house, my mother came home on the weekends, and it was clean the house day. But she'd been working. We've been tormenting her all week. She hasn't had time to beat our asses. So just one of us steps out of line on Sunday when we're cleaning, and Mama gonna have a slap the shit out of you Sunday.
There you go.
And yeah, so you know that whole thing where people found that really funny. And I said that the idea of like parents having these long explanations at the mall. This is what you did. This is why you're being punished. I swear to God, this is why you need to be a better person. Okay, I get it. And then the girl told me that, well, they're having sensitivity training at In-N-Out on how to talk to millennials. It's like, shut up. Could you imagine?
Never.
Ever? Like, seriously? How many times did your mother have to tell you to do something?
Well, here's the thing. My mother is a very sweet woman. However, she did not always believe to be this sweet. Now she's gotten older. She's really patient and all that shit. But as a kid, oh, man, she had to tell me to do something twice. The first time was tell me to do it. The second time I had to know that she was serious. And I'm like, because you don't want your mama to put your hands on you. And it's, I envy the kids nowadays because there are so many people that are standing up for them. That's like, hey, no bullying. Hey, parents, don't hit your kids. And I'm like, man, where were y'all 20-something years ago when I needed this help? So that type of thing. Oh, you didn't miss a lot. You can actually see the beginning of the interview after we wrap it up, and you can go back and watch. Everybody, thank you for tuning in, leaving your comments. Invite some friends if you want, and they can come in.
Yeah, I mean, to send you the link, I'm actually, where we're at my place of residence, which is the first time I've done this. So if you hear the complete sound of dog barking, I did not hire nor am I dating. That is the dog from next door. But yeah, I'm really like amazed and fascinated because I walk away with this from being at the show, 3 years of watching people, and I really have watched, and I see this huge thing that happens when you become in just engaged with the audience's energy, and it just it goes throughout the whole room. And like I just want to say this to people: when people are talking about you need to vibrate on a higher level, there's all this manifesting, vibrate. Go to a comedy show. The vibration in the room is laughter. You can't get, if you're going through chemo, I'm dead serious. No pun on the dead. But if you're going through chemo, no shit. It's a known fact. When you bring somebody, because a friend of mine does holistic medicine, and I was talking with another doctor who was a oncologist, and they were both talking about that, the effects of laughter. So my thing was, if laughter is the best medicine, let me be your pharmacy. Because that's what you guys do, you know? And I'm so amazed at the fact that when you do talk about things where you as an audience member goes, oh, he did it. And you're like, oh my God, should I laugh? I don't. And then the punchline, and everyone the whole room just starts on that commonality of like, oh, fuck yeah, he's looking at my windows. I know that shit. Right? So how could you not love that?
For one, I don't, you go through periods as a comedian where you fall in and out of love with comedy. I have fallen back in love with comedy over the past 8 months or so, where I go to a comedy show, if I'm not performing, I'm like, wow, that's so funny, and it'll pick my spirits up. But because there's such a power in the healing of laughter that you wouldn't believe. I have so many friends that be like, man, we're going to the club. Oh, it's whack up in here. We got to go somewhere else. I'm like, you're going to be wherever you be. Wherever you go, you're going to be. So if you're saying the energy is whack here or there, it's because you created it, instead of going somewhere like a comedy show where it doesn't require you to bring any energy. If you just sit there, shut the fuck up, and listen, your energy will change for the better. That's a guarantee.
I'm like going, okay, I gotta ask him. The energy that I'm getting from you is at 23 years old. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking you chose the woman that you chose. She's obviously a very supporting queen.
Yeah.
And you chose the woman because your conversations had to connect on a deeper level than you had with anyone else. Mm-hmm. And also seeing that she was focused in the same direction, and this would be a woman who would support you and build you, rather than be the girl going, "Who's in your phone? What's this?" You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, everybody has that story. Well, right. A lot of guys do. Mm-hmm. You know, crazy ass bitch. But I'm like going, well, it's a distraction. Am I right?
Yeah, I very fortunately have not ever had that type of woman in my life, which is great.
but you guys, you know, because it's in sketches and everybody goes, crazy ass Daphne with the gun and the whole 9 yards. Yeah. And so I'm like, wow. And my mind goes, how come these guys stay with that one? Oh, they scared. Oh, okay, I got you.
I think a lot of it has to do with their kinetic energy. I used to date a girl. She and I used to argue back and forth because that's the difference with me. I was raised by women. Like, I have all women around. Now, my father was in my life, but in the house, I'm the only boy. When my dad's at work, it's me and all girls. When I'm with my mom, it's me and my sister. Like, it's so many girls around me that I've gotten to way more arguments with women than I ever have or would with a man. So when you're arguing with a woman in relationships, what happens is, the girl that I dated, we argued back and forth so much. And when we had sex, it was great because we had so much like, oh, I can't stand you. I can't stand you either, motherfucker. So it was great.
Yeah, that's called sexual tension.
Yeah, but
we're
still friends. She's cool.
You have to admit, though, like the idea of being in the club, and I've seen it. I've seen the difference between the dedicated comedians.
Yeah.
BT, I like watching.
BT Kingsley, very funny comedian.
He's focused. He's doing what he's doing. He don't give a shit what anyone else is doing.
He doesn't care.
He stays true to himself. Mm-hmm. He perfects his craft. And, you know, like, you watch him, and he's always in I don't know if you feel this way, but he's always in this great energy.
BT is one of the comedians that I can honestly say I've never heard complain.
No, never.
He never complains.
That there's not enough people, blah, blah, blah. So,
I complain. This motherfucker just not complaining. I'm like, bitch, did you see this shit, man? This is so blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, but you know, hey, it's still going to be great. I'm like, man, what happened in your life? You just don't. I've had it so great in my life.
Anything's better than that. Right, right. You want the comforts of what you grew up with. Well, I'm thinking with women around you, you were spoiled.
Oh, absolutely. I was very spoiled. To this day.
Please don't tell me you were the baby, too.
With my mom, I'm the baby boy.
Oh,
but with my dad, I'm just the only boy. So you get that attention. But it's so. As a kid, I hated having all sisters, but now being a man, I love it because women are so nurturing and caring and loving compared to the men that I know who have brothers. I'm like, man, why are you so hard, man? It's like, man, fuck that, dude. You know, like, hey, you need some sisters, brother. I'm good.
No, that's really true. Yeah. There's nothing worse than, you know, as a criteria, if I met a man, I go, so how many are in your family? And this is actually reality. And they go, oh, you know, all brothers. I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking not.
You know, not a love. All brothers.
You know, that's certain things where my friends are like, you know, you move here, you got to get doctors. So I'm like, hey, you got a female gynecologist? They're like, well, no, I see a guy. Why would you do that? There's something so not right about that. You know, men are meant to prowl in the pussy. Yeah. And so, like, I don't want to probe and scout, you know, and there's, you know, the fat Jewish guy with the mole on top of his head smoking the cigar breath. He's no longer. Now you get a young intern coming out. It's like, yeah, I don't think we're going to do this today. Mm-hmm. Okay, nothing looking pretty down there that you can be. No, but having said that, you know, I grew up, my brother had 3 sisters as well. And he would be like, I got to go, he'd want to go on a date. Hey, you mind mowing the lawn? And we adored our brother. So I would be, okay, yeah, man, I'll catch you next time. I'll take you. Yeah, no, he wouldn't. You know, had the, or hey, can you change out my sheets? You know, sneaking women in. You know, he's at that age. Oh man, that was hilarious. I think the funniest story is when he snuck a woman home and they had a dog. She had a dog with her under the bed, and my mother's yelling out, "This room smells like shit. It smells like wet dog." Right? And I can hear the dog growling. It was just like stuff like that.
Like a dog.
You can't imagine. Now, all I can say to that is back then you took your life in your hands.
Yeah.
Because my mother would have slapped all the way through to the dog.
Oh yeah. And it wasn't no Peter to defend.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the sneakiest thing you ever did?
The sneakiest thing I had ever done, living with my mom, I snuck my high school sweetheart in. Maybe months prior, I had taken her virginity, which, you know, we're this young couple, and I was so excited for her to choose me, for me to be able to be the one to take the virginity.
Cool. So you hear what he said?
Because it's an honor, you know. The girl says you're my first. It's like, wow. So anyway, this is like maybe the third time of us doing it, and I was like, yo, you should come over the house. And she was like, your mom gonna be. I'm like, yo, and my mother never used to tell us when she would come home from work because, you know, she didn't want you to be able to have somebody at the house. So
surprise element.
So she came to the house, and, you know, we're having fun, and then I'm like, I think that's my mom, right? So she was like, oh, and we scrambling, and I tell her to get everything, and I'm trying to smell the air to make sure it doesn't smell like a woman in the house, and I'm trying to like get all of this stuff to stink it up to like it would be if I was just there like, let me get some chili. What a chili at? And luckily we did not get caught, but my heart was beating through my chest the whole time.
You know, see, girls sneak out and go to but they don't.
But guys sneak in.
Right, the guys sneak in.
Yeah.
Because I think as far as the killing factor goes, you get your ass caught at her house, you're more than likely going to end up somewhere dead.
That, and you got to think about money. Like when people are teenagers, women go with the guy because the guy probably has the money to get them a room or has space that he can have company over. I couldn't have company over. So I was just living dangerously. But yeah, guys don't really go out because they don't have the money. But girls leave because they're like, hey, I don't want my family in my business. I don't need anybody, my neighbors seeing the guy come over. It's all methodical.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing too, man, I'll tell you. To go back to like never in a million years, you must go like, thank God I'm not single. What is turned into out there? I'm like, this is like a mad carnival.
Here's the thing. When I see the difference is, my day is going great. When I see the difference in apps, this is one thing that I'm so jealous about this generation compared to when I got in a relationship. Like, I got in a relationship heavy 2011, right? No, 2010. So you're thinking the apps. You got Uber, you got Tinder, you got all these websites that people could just link up to just do whatever. And I'm like, all I had was Facebook, fam. I had Facebook. We had MySpace.
Don't make me cry.
Yo.
Wait, now, I just want you to know, touching on that, because I would love this. You have...
Wait. I had no car in 2010. And I was like, they could just get Uber to go to somebody's house? I had to get on a bus. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, but I want you to say, all right, now take it back to my day.
Oh, before the internet.
What I would love is to have like an old couple talking about like my great-grandparents who survived Siberia and they survived the war. Yeah. And they did this. And as we go to the next generation, my grandfather has the same, came over World War II ship, it blew up, blah, 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 settles in Montana, blah, blah, and now they come to my generation. And I say, we grew up without any internet. And the whole audience goes, ah, right?
Yeah.
That's when everybody loses it.
Yeah.
No anything. I mean, my daughter, who's probably like your age, was like, can I have a pager?
Woo!
So I was like, what do you mean you want a pager? And she's like, oh, my friend. I go, wait. So that means that if I paid you, really? To me, it was like, oh, are you out of your mind? I would never want one.
It's crazy.
It's like, find me on a dime? Right. Yeah. Right, and now cell phones.
Oh, it's a big leash. You
can track your kids, right?
Here's the funny thing, which when you look at now, people not only just cell phones. When you hear somebody be like, "Oh yeah, I didn't have my cell phone on me," you're like, "You're a goddamn liar." Everybody has their phone on them, and if you don't have your phone on you, you're a weirdo, flat out.
Right.
So I should be able to get in contact. But the thing that I love most about cell phones are text messages, because I hate talking on the phone. So you take me back to being a teenager. I hated talking on the phone to everybody except my then girlfriend.
Oh, that's
so it's
hilarious.
Like, oh, what is it? Hey, yeah, what's up, granddaddy? Yeah, oh, this is a short phone call. All right, man, I'll talk to you soon.
Oh my God,
but you talk to somebody else? Oh, long call.
To be guilty of that party.
Yeah.
My friends know that I'm the person, and I don't know, you guys must have friends like this, where to go, hey man, I got 10 minutes. Can we do this in 10 minutes? 10 minutes?
Yep.
Right? And then, but on my defense is like most of my friends that have time, because, if you're a good storyteller and you make people laugh,
yeah,
and you can't hear them, and you're like, you all right? And they're like, they can't even breathe.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best feeling in the world. Because you can literally say, I can honestly say I've saved somebody's life in a moment of, because I didn't know they were in the frame they were in, and I just started, go from 0 to 100, and they were laughing, and then they tell me what had happened, and I was like, you fucking kidding me?
That's crazy.
So the power of being, it's like the greatest gift of all.
Yeah.
When I was like, oh, I'm gonna be one of the funny people, yes. But to what extent? Comedy is a huge spectrum. It can also be, there's comedians that go into stand up, but that's a whole nother animal.
Yeah.
And yet they're writers. You're a writer, huh?
Yeah.
He's a writer. I love that.
Yeah.
And there's so much, because everyone out here goes, oh, the money's in the writing. But I want to say, yeah, but you just can't do it for that.
Yeah, you can't do it for that.
It's like there's certain things, because you can't fake funny.
You can't fake funny.
I need that shirt made, because that is so,
can't fake
that
funny.
is the truth.
That actually might be another shirt. I'm coming out with a couple different shirts, and I'm like, that might be one. Here's the thing. For me, writing is the freedom to create your own universe. I'm not even just talking about, because a lot of people just think that I write the sketches. I wrote television on game shows for other comedians, all of these things. When it comes to the sketches are probably the one thing I don't get all the credit for. Like, anytime you see anybody in my videos, I've written everything that they're going to say. So I'm like, it's me, motherfucker. I wrote that.
See?
But I'm not, here's the thing. I never take credit for their thing, because I work with some very talented people, and I never want them to, I don't want their star to be diminished, but I also don't want mine diminished. So if I'm like, they're like, oh, such and such is hilarious. And they're like, yeah, good video, CT. I'm like, all right, fair enough. Thanks for watching.
That's really, and is it as like, okay, do you recognize a creative mind to where you're like, oh man, this person's fired, the way their brain's wired?
Oh yeah. For me, just on a collective sense, there are so many different fields of it. Like when we're talking about television shows, we're talking about the art of entertainment, Bentley Kyle Evans, Stacey Evans Morgan, Niall Evans, and then you have my peers. You have somebody like Chaz Rogers, Dion Lack, Ryan Loomis, Miranda Bolden. Like, there are so many people that are so talented. And then you look at sketches. Tyree is probably one of the funniest people in the world. Like, there are so many sketches that I wouldn't have even been able to make if he and I didn't bounce them off each other, if he didn't give me an idea to elaborate on, or vice versa. But he's so full of energy and so talented. Like, there's so many people that are just so funny that people would have no idea about, because they just look at one side of it.
Right. Well, I kind of like to shine a little light on that. And like, well, everybody's like, well, you're kind of in the other side is you have to do things for yourself. Like, you guys, with what I've touched base with them, they're like, you get a sketch, you get a script, bring it to us. And I dawned on me, I'm like, why am I waiting for anybody to put me in this sketch? What if I have all these ideas where I could have a nonstop entourage, and they're hilarious because it's me. I'm not, and it's like what you said, when you stay true to who you are, when you stay true to who you are, no one can duplicate that. No. So I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty easy. My friend and I talk about in the writing process. Yeah. And I'm talking to people, and my friends are like, "You're freaking if you're good with words." And I go, "I see in sketches." Yeah. And whenever I'm out, like I told you, what happened last night, you see things where like people would laugh at that.
You just have to shoot it. A lot of times, like I get a lot of DMs. I get a lot of people coming up to me on the street. They're like, "Yo, this is a sketch. This would be funny." And I'm like, "Hey, my brand of humor is so different than everybody else's."
Oh, we talked about that.
I'm like, "Yo, do it," because my brand of humor is so different that anybody who enjoys what I do, I'm like, oh, God bless you for thinking like I think and finding the funny where I find the funny. Whereas other people give me an idea, and I'm like, it's not really me. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean it's not funny.
Oh, I know that 100%.
But I'm like, it's not really my thing. But I always tell people to shoot it. Like, it's either one day or day one. And all of the people who've been supporting me didn't just come about. Like, they came from day one, and I built them along the way. But you have to start. I think a lot of people are mesmerized by people's social media numbers. Like, you look at somebody who has 1 million numbers, or a couple 100,000 or 50,000, whatever the case, and you're like, oh, if this person could just repost my sketch. Oh, if this person could just say my name, then they're hundreds of thousands or they're millions of followers.
No, they don't
follow me. Like, that's not how it goes.
No, it's not.
But you can build your own and nobody can tell you anything.
Right.
Like, I take so much pride in the numbers that I have. Like, if we look at right now, here's the funny thing about social media. The live number right here says 10, now it says 12 people, right? When I end this shared video, and I share it, when I end this live video, it's going to say hundreds of people because this number shows you who's in the room right now that you can see. But it does not show you the number of people across the world that are watching overall.
Well, this is my biggest, all right, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because I want to say this, that is where I have my biggest beef with people who say to me, how many viewers does your radio show go? And I try and explain to them, this is on DSAW Network.
Yeah.
So this is web stream. The access for this station is 140 million viewers. I don't know who's watching, and it's all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's like, and you know it, things can go from obsolete, who's that?
Yeah.
It blows up.
Immediately,
and everybody goes to all your backlog history. And, you know, that's the other thing, too, in all due respect. It's like, I love the fact that you stay true to yourself. And I want to ask you a question, because this is a personal question.
Go ahead.
Have you ever been out and have somebody lose their mind because they recognize you?
Yes. It was one time, it happens more with kids and young adults than it does people my age. And I'll tell you the difference.
Because of your show?
No, it's because as we get older, do you remember Peter Pan with Robin Williams?
Yeah, yes.
So Robin Williams did a movie called Hook, and this theme has recurred my entire life. Robin Williams was Peter Pan, and once he became an adult, he had kids, and his kids got kidnapped and taken to Neverland by Captain Hook, right?
Right.
And he's like, I'm going to get my kids. He goes to Neverland because Tinkerbell sprinkled some dust on him. He gets there, and when he gets to Neverland, he's like, yo, what are you kids doing? They're like, we're eating. He's like, I don't see any food and I'm starving. Where's the food at? And they're like, you got to believe. He's like, what are you talking about believe? I believe that I'm hungry. And they're like, no, use your imagination because you've grown up. You've forgotten how it is to be a kid. And what I mean by that is there are so many of us as adults that we forget how we were when we were kids because we're so used to now being adults and we have these things that we have to do, responsibilities that we can't hold on to our imaginations anymore. We can't be kids. When you were a kid, if you saw, from me, Hulk Hogan on TV, you're like, oh, it's Hulk Hogan. Oh, right? Yeah. Me now at 32, I'm like, hey, what's up, Hogan? I see you over there doing your thing. Boy, all right, then, what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the kids that see me lose their minds. The teenagers, like all of this stuff because they haven't become too cool yet. And then the people my age will be like, hey, what up, man? You know what I mean? So it's still that same feeling, but they're not as free with it. So kids, young adults, and my age, different results. But yeah, I think a lot of people show me love when they see me, which is great. I'm always humbled by it.
You're over that. I had this thing where I wanted to because, you know, I'm friends with a lot of various artists, Tyree being one of them. And, you know, everybody's busy. And I keep saying, I want to meet King Batch. And the reason King Batch was like this obsession for me is it's not because of his followers. It's because I've never seen it, what he's doing is just like an element all his own. Okay. And he keeps so I'm like, well, the universe puts him because of a failed meeting and a wrong time. I'm standing at a Starbucks I never go to, and I look over, and who's ordering tea and what have you, Batch. So now I have a million energy bolts going through me, and I'm trying to be contained, but I'm also on cold medication. And if we could just honestly say, I spoke in 27 half sentences that went from, well, I want to tell him this. Oh, wait, no, but there was this I was going to tell you. And oh, my God, I know you're an introvert because, you know, I saw that on your interview, and I have a radio show. And you know what? Sean Grant, and I'm a friend. And you and he's just sitting there watching this whole thing. I go, I have cold medication. You must think I'm out of my mind. I said, but I've heard, and trying to get in. And at the end, I go, and I have a show, and he was very gracious. Yeah. And I was just like, I could not believe how lit I got seeing him. And I've never done. And I've met, already being in 3 years, I met a lot of people. But it was this, it was like I manifested it 2 days before saying, how do I get a one-on-one with him?
I'll tell you what, King Batch, man. King Batch, and there are so many people who won't say this because I've never been that type of personality to not give credit where credit is due. There'll be people like, oh, well, I'm the top of any sketch, social media. He's the top creator of anybody. That's talking about black, white, Asian, whatever. And I'm not talking about who has the most numbers. I'm talking about somebody who has the biggest impact. He started a wave that has changed the internet forever. He made monetization possible. He made it cool to do sketches online. Everybody knows his name. Let me tell you something else about King Bash. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Oh my God,
to have all of these numbers and all of these accolades and the money that he's making, when you talk to him, you be like, no, this can't be King Bash. He's too nice. I'm looking for King Bash, fam. Stay over here. Hey, where's Batch at? I'm looking for somebody, and he's the nicest guy in the world, and he deserves all of it. And I think if there were more people that gave true credit to people and not so worried about coming off as, it was like, I ain't trying to be on this jock. There is no jock. There is only your appreciation of somebody's work, or you admire what they're doing, or you're saying, you know what, I see you doing your thing. I just want to give you love, brother.
That's right.
And, there aren't a lot of people like that. But Batch is incredible, man.
And the rest of it would be just air. Because, I mean, it's something that, passionately, the game. Oh, what was funny was, and he doesn't know this, when he walked out, there was a typical Hollywood, I'm all that, sitting with this thing, and him and his girl look up, and I'm like, oh my God, did you see that? It was King Bash. Mm-hmm. And someone else had stopped him outside, and I'm like a puppy watching his mouth, just watching him, and I turned to the guy, can you believe that? And the guy goes, yeah, he's one of those internet, nobodies.
Trying to diminish his.
Instant famers. I deal with, and he actually said, now I'm looking at him, this guy's got to be in his late 30s. He goes, my company, we dealt with like Gildan Rad. And I'm like, dude, you weren't even alive. That was my generation. It's like, what is it? Okay, you are right, sir. You are so much more important than that. It just was like amazing to me. And all attitude. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm working here. Were you talking to me?
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, dude, I have no idea who you are. But everybody knew who he was walking out of there, And he's just, it was like, he had to be, because he didn't just order a tea. That's what makes it so funny, which, of course, my mind goes sketch mode.
Yeah.
Is where you're stuck behind this big order you go to get somebody. So he can't get his coffee and go, it was really nice meeting you. Mm-hmm. Crazy lady at Starbucks. And you're stuck waiting for the crumpet and then the iced teas that I'll get it for the crew. It's like, never again, man.
Yeah.
Hi, Uber Eats.
haven't.
DoorDash. Yeah. So you're going to be, I would have to say, you travel as well. You're doing your TV show. Mm-hmm. I want to give, that idea. As I know all you people know a lot about you. I have my family in Boston that watch the show afterwards.
Okay.
So, I always try and build a little bit. My whole joy is when you can use a platform for people to get a little bit more exposure than they wouldn't get. I have a nephew that works at, shout out Maki Moroso, who works at WAAF. Mm-hmm. He just got into production and so pissed. He was like, look at this straight on TN. You go to LA, you don't know anybody, and the first year you land a radio show, I'm like, it's kind of weird. It's the universe has plans. Mm. But he does stuff. They just one of the comedians had gone through there, an LA comedian, and I saw he was on my nephew's show. AAF's a big radio station in Boston. Mm-hmm. So I'm always saying, East Coast, West Coast, knucklehead, why don't you promote me? And he said to me the same thing. He goes, this is the way AAF, they've been there forever. He doesn't have that kind of clout.
That's honest.
So, I'm sitting there going, for the Boston fam, you have a TV show called
Family Time.
You have wait.
Family Time on Bounce
TV. Now I watch that. When I have it, you notice there's certain things that happen when you relocate to LA. You go, okay, where am I going to cut back? TV? I have internet. You go to the neighbors. So, what's your internet?
I think that's the beautiful thing of it. A lot of people ask me, where can we watch the show? And I'm like, it's literally so many places. I don't even want to hear that question anymore. You can watch it live on Bounce TV when it airs. You can watch it on Amazon and watch it if you got Spectrum, if you got Dish Network, whatever the case. We're on regular TV, analog. There's so many opportunities. You can go to bounce.com. There are too many ways for people to watch the show. So I never want to hear that question again. I actually don't even acknowledge it when people say, hey, we're going to watch the show. You can watch it everywhere, fam, because I know you got Amazon.
You have the other thing too is like writing and watching your work being done well. Oh, that's the other thing. Like you can write something and it's just dead because the person doesn't quite grasp the direction of where you want it to go, or it's just their energy. So what people also don't understand is how precise you choose certain people for certain roles.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, where you're and basically not every comedian can act in front of a camera. No. Right?
Man, it's so funny. Well, not funny in a ha-ha way, but funny like, damn, that sucks. Is I'll see so many comedians and I'm like, oh, this person is so talented. And they don't know television timing. Television timing is internet timing. Timing is timing. If you're funny on stage, theoretically, you should be able to be funny in front of a camera. But that's not the case because everybody wants their joke to get off. Sometimes it's not about your joke. Sometimes it's about how you react to somebody else's joke.
So you're the straight man for that.
Yeah, like I don't. This is a perfect example. In my sketches, I'm not the funny person. I'm the straight person, but I made you believe that I'm the funny person because of how I'm reacting to everything around me. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I know my strengths. Whereas I'm not about to come in and be like, hey, everybody, y'all want some jelly? And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But if there's this funny scenario and I react to this scenario, I'm reacting to it how I will react to it. You know, added theatrics, of course, but this is a straight scenario. And that's why you'll see, oh, man, such and such was so funny. Oh, this was so funny. It's like, that's why I wrote these things, because I didn't want to be the person saying that.
It's choreography of words.
But a lot of comedians don't understand the choreography. The ones who do will always rise to the top, no matter how dark it seems. They'll always rise to the top because they understand there's something in addition to their stand-up.
Very much so. Like old time, like, I don't know. Do you guys watch old time comedy shows like The Honeymooners? The old Sanford and Son, the rhythm that a lot of, even, I'm going to ask you, Flip Wilson, anything?
Oh, Flip Wilson is one of the greatest underappreciated performers of all time, because he not only performed and wrote, produced, and acted and starred in his own sketch show at a time where that was not popular, he owned it.
Yes, he did.
And that is why you'll never hear him publicized like everybody else. He owned
Sock it to me.
It. So that alone is something that's like, he owned. A lot of people don't even own their music nowadays.
Oh wait, right. In business, what was it he had? The devil made me do it. Geraldine. Right, and in saying that,
one of his greatest characters.
One of his greatest characters. And I keep saying, like, comedians, I'm like, yeah, man, who's your best? You know, and well, you know, you got to pay homage to Richard Pryor. They'll go down the line. It's almost predictable where they're going to go.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy, and I'll go, what about Flip Wilson?
Well, you gotta understand,
Is it an age thing?
It definitely is an age thing. You wouldn't hear me say Richard Pryor on my list because it wasn't my generation. Okay. By the time I got into comedy, I saw everybody being Richard Pryor. So by the time I saw Richard Pryor, it was like, oh, I've seen this before. People have copied him, but I saw the copies before I saw the original. But the people who won't give credit to Flip Wilson just don't know about him as much as you'll know about a Carol Burnett.
Right. Well, which is a shame, because I really think that a lot of comedians should go back to basics. Even I had one comedian, I was, oh my God, you're so right, Charlie Chaplin. Oh. He was like, you asked me who my favorite comedian is, and he goes, you're never going to guess when, and I was, no.
But and you know why Charlie Chaplin?
Universal.
When you say Charlie Chaplin, Charlie Chaplin was very universal, but I was introduced, we all knew who Charlie Chaplin was, but I didn't know the impact he'd had until I saw Robert Downey Jr. playing Charlie Chaplin in the film. And I'm like, wow, I had no idea that he started UTA. I had no idea that he created, you know what I mean? So sometimes it takes people to be taught about somebody to understand. So I think the person who does the Flip Wilson movie will then show light on who Flip Wilson is.
Well, I mean, because that being my generation, and now, you know, it said Carol Burnett and the timing between Tim Conway and Harry
Lawrence.
Kaufman and Vicki Lawrence, phenomenal, because they incorporated every aspect of their talent. And, you know, this is my failing, to be able to bring all, like, the comedy, and the way they did it was taking funny, but also taking people's background talents and incorporating acting, incorporating singing and how they're working in the. Yeah. I mean the whole to be able to take like a movie like she did a sketch in Gone with the Wind where she ripped the curtain, she had the curtain on, but you just see this organic thing that happens, and they were also allowed to ad-lib more because and you would see the reaction where they would crack each other up. All right, now what about Monty Python? And I'm only going to go there because British humor is something the people they get it or they don't.
I get it, but as a kid, it just wasn't something that I was like, ooh, I like that. Now, when you look at certain people, I like Mr. Bean. You know, I watched a lot of PBS as a kid. So when the PBS would replay a lot of these British shows. Are You Being Served was one of my favorite shows, and I didn't know why. I didn't know it was British humor. I just was like, I've never seen these people on American TV, but it was so funny. Benny Hill, like there's so many different things that I enjoyed, but so much that I did not because I'm like, what the fuck is it? You know what I mean? But comedy is subjective. You like what you like.
Now, let me ask you: is there a comedy museum?
If there is, they're only talking about the hits, and what I mean by the hits is they're only talking about the huge names. You won't be able to see somebody.
See, I happen to think that this is my personal opinion. You can tell me if I'm wrong. Comedy is an animal all its own, in the respect that you could say hip hop. Or I'm sorry, music venues, you know, so you have acting, drama, comedy, you could actually do a Hall of Fame. Yeah. You could show reels, people would get lost in their favorite outfits, reels, how it grew America because there's so much truth in history because comedy was the only place where you could go, yeah, we saw what he did. We're going to call him out on it. Haha, ain't that funny? Yeah. And where people would be shocked about the subject, but you could get away with things. Yeah. Now, because I'm trying to, as we come down the show, all right, this thing that's happening today in comedy, I don't know about you. A lot of people, I don't really care about people's opinions and prejudices, but I ask you to think when I said, when Roseanne did what she did and everybody got on, and the minute I brought it up, the person across me, but that was racist. And I said, I don't disagree, none of that. I said, but let me ask you this. You do realize censorship works both ways. And then, of course, the next thing you hear is what happened with Kevin. Yeah. Okay. And I'm just like, seriously, is this what we're overly sensitized about? And like I said, in and out training on how to speak to millennials. Yeah. I mean, I get that, but if you take the edge off of comedy, what the where are we going to go? Puppy dog? What are you going to have puppy dogs on to get hits on your YouTube? Because animals are always funny.
That's a fact.
Because animals just do their thing.
Here's what it is. You will see the difference, and here's the difference right now. People with platforms will always be held accountable for saying something that offends one or two people because it can be blown up more. If a person who had 2 followers, 2, literally the number 1, 2 followers, said the most racist, bigoted, most small-minded comments ever, nobody would care because it's not reaching anybody. Okay. So be warned that they are going to try and censorship with comedy. There are going to be interviews. Kevin was just the first one. There are going to be people that comb through the existence of your entire social media.
Oh, that's scary.
To try and see something that you might have said years ago.
Yeah, when I had 2 followers.
Yeah, that nobody cared about then. They're going to make people care about it now. If you said, I guarantee if you say right now, the word avocado. Let's say you're like, man, avocados are disgusting, right? Everybody laughs. 20 years from now, there's going to be an avocado group. And the avocado group is going to hate the fact that you said something disparagingly about avocado. And now you're going to be held accountable for that 20 years from now. So, the censorship with comedy has just begun. I don't think it's anywhere near ending because nobody has a sense of humor anymore. We're censoring so many other things, and it started with, remember when you were a kid and you could play on that metal slide in the wood and you could get a splinter but you just had fun? Right. Then late 90s, all of the playground equipment became hard plastic. And it's like, nobody's getting hurt, but it's small and fun safe. Then it became, yo, bullying is wrong. I got bullied as a kid. I don't want any kids to get bullied. Which they're right. Put a shock on that. Now, what's the next thing we can put a stamp on? It becomes that, the domino. So just like we censored all of these things, we're censoring comedy. Next we'll be censoring certain things on television. Oh, I don't want to see any kind of blood on movies anymore because I have family who fought in this type of service, and I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I'm telling you, that's how people are going to be captured.
My show ended. That's my takeout music. I see it's 10:01.
Well, thank you.
Please playing that. I am just like totally blown away as to like I was going to
Oh yeah, it was fun. Great conversation.
And that was great. You guys, thank you so much. Check me out on Instagram, Annamarie Carl. Please follow me because what I do, I'm just trying to give you guys the biggest platform ever where people can touch and reach out and talk to different people.
I'm gonna go live with a couple of y'all right now just for hanging in and watching the interview. Thank you, Anna, for having me. I am Clayton Thomas. Go to IamClaytonThomas.com. Check out the merchandise, the hoodies, the shirts. I got women's clothes. You can hear the radio show. You can hear, or you can watch sketches. You can follow me everywhere, and I appreciate the love as always.
Can't wait to go to your mall.
Let's see. We should try Joseph Vito first. Joseph, coming to you. Are we still on there? Or are we out?
I think we I'll check mine.
Yo, man, me?
That's what's up, man. You got any questions for me, brother? You want to come and say what's up?
I got the game in a chokehold. I know, bank account, I'm about to tip you now. Look, I got a bounce.